So my name is Joette Calabrese. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a homeopath and have been a homeopath studying and teaching for around mid-80s. Let's put it that way. If I put a number on it and then you watch this in 5 years from now, it's not going to make sense. So from mid-80s on. And for those who do know me, welcome, my friends. Come on in. It's really great to see everyone. I love being here. I love meeting you. I like seeing new people. I love seeing my old friends. Yes, happy to see you all. Grand Rapids, Michigan, says Pat. Let's see where folks are from here in Facebook Live. Aubrey, Texas is Kieran. And hi from Indiana. It's wonderful. I love to see everyone. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All righty. So tonight, I just perked myself up because I'm not feeling so hot today. I don't know what it is. I might have, and when I don't feel well, I'll be honest with you, my brain turns to mush. Should I consider taking aconitum with bryonia? Should I take cold calm? Should I take Roostox? Because mostly it's aches and pains and fatigue. And, I feel a little feverish, but not so bad. I mean, I worked today, but I also really took it easier than I usually do. My last appointment, I think, was around 4:00. I finished up and then I laid down and took a half-hour nap and to prepare for now. So anyone have any ideas? I could help you when you're sick, but when I'm sick, all bets are off. Truly, I can't think straight. But I will tell you a story in relationship to this remedy we're going to be learning about tonight that I knew what to do. So what we're going to be talking about, there are infections and then there are infections. So I'm going to talk about sepsis. And if you don't know what that is, I urge you to look it up. If you do know, you know how important this particular remedy is going to be because sepsis is a serious concern. And this is what I'm going to be teaching you. Get prepared. No, and I mean get really prepared. For those of you, I mean, I've said this ad nauseum, for goodness sakes. These times are different. We are living in different times. I mean, those of us who've been in alternative medicine for a long time know this. We understand this kind of medical tyranny, I would say, overreach. And so we're familiar with it to a certain degree, but I never thought it would go this far. Maybe others did, but I did not think it was going to go this far, at least not this fast. So now is the time, my friends, to learn as much as you possibly can. Know your medicines, own your medicines, get as much education as you possibly can, whether it's free from my blog, my podcast, these Facebook Lives, these Mighty Members, etc. Or if you just join a study group or start one of the gateway study groups, get into it and make friends within this world. And that's through Gateway is a wonderful way to do it because you want those friends. Just like I said, I can't think straight when I don't feel well. My brain goes to mush. My husband's pretty good at it, but he was very busy today and I didn't ask for his help. I wasn't that sick, So let's see. Someone says I take bioplasma and it goes away when I'm getting something. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Some bioplasma would probably be a very good idea, at least if nothing else, right? That's a good fail-safe method to, when in doubt, bioplasma. So let's get into this because the medicine we're going to be talking about tonight is for sepsis, septic fevers, and I will tell you my own personal story with this. The remedy is called pyrogenium. Pyrogenium, great name. It's made from meat, from beef. That was purposely spoiled, and then the homeopathic medicine was made from that. So as you can imagine, if someone's got sepsis, there would be, it basically, what are we? We're meat. And that's what it boils down to, doesn't it, folks? We're meat. And when meat gets rancid or not rancid, when it gets infected, this is what comes of it. So pyrogenium. Now, pyrogenium, Pyrogenium, pyrogenium is more often than not, it's used in a 30th potency or a 200. That's the most common. Um, oh, here we go. Lisa says your old friend Nux Vomica can stave off a cold in early stages. I actually just took Nux Vomica. My husband, I forgot to mention that. My husband just gave it to me. Yes, and Bioplasma helped my husband's fever break. Good job. Thank you, ladies and gents. Thank you. I will okay, yeah, thank you. I mean, it is, see, this is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of community we need when you can't think straight. So all right, so pyrogenium. So pyrogenium is the remedy for sepsis. I'm reading this from my Materia Medica. You can follow along with me. I'm not going to read verbatim because I want to add a couple words here and there and some thoughts. Or you can purchase this yourself if you'd like, but if you don't want to, that's fine too. There are lots of great Materia Medicas that are even free online. One of my favorites is Dr. James Tyler Kent. Little too classical for my taste, but still very good information. Okay, so pyrogenium is a remedy for sepsis, especially with intense restlessness. Some of the conditions calling for pyrogenium include septic fevers, puerperal fevers. You know what puerperal fever is? It's an old-time word. It means, actually, maybe it's not so old-time. It's a fever that ensues during childbirth. Women used to die from puerperal fever. And ptomaine poisoning. I love that, ptomaine, but it's pronounced ptomaine poisoning. Typhoid, diphtheria. It's not diphtheria. It's D-I-P-H, because there's that PH sound is a F sound. So it's diphtheria, malaria, and the aftermath of a miscarriage, blood poisoning, and its related effects. This medicine eases symptoms such as cold sweats, high fever, irregular pulse. That's part of this, an irregular pulse rate. And and I can't even read my restiveness. Okay. In addition, pyrogenium is especially useful for ulcers. And here's the key: bacterial infections. It is excellent for bacterial infections. So, and I'll go into that in a moment. In addition, pyrogenium is especially useful for ulcers. I said that, bacterial infections, and valuable for more conditions that would otherwise be treated with antibiotics, penicillin, etc. So anytime we think of a penicillin that's needed for an infection, especially of tissue infection, I don't think of pyrogenium for an ear infection or necessarily. It's not my first medicine. I don't go with that. I go more from a wound, a dental infection. Sepsis could be from a boil, blood poisoning, an injury. That's when I think of using pyrogenium. So it can also be effective for problems of the liver, kidneys, bowels, urinary tract, gallbladder, and lungs, as well as skin conditions, sinusitis, and nasal infections. So we can certainly use it for those, but that's where usually I use something else, unless it's going into sepsis, unless we're getting a septic fever. Then we're talking about any of those can be useful. Gallbladder, you know, when the gallbladder is infected, this medicine could be incredible. Pyrogenium, there's no doubt about it. Obviously, you're going to be, by that time, you're going to be in the emergency room, but we would still use pyrogenium concomitantly with any other conventional medicine that's being used. There can be coldness and chilliness, beginning in the back, rapidly rising temperature and heat with profuse hot sweat that does not reduce the body's temperature. There can be smelly discharges and a heart that feels weak. All right. I've used this medicine for myself, and I'll tell you my experience, which is really was really memorable. I've told the story about an infection that I had in my jaw at the site of an extracted wisdom tooth, and many years later, I realized that's what was going on. And I went to a biological dentist, and those are the dentists I like best, especially if we have any osteomyelitis, or another word is necrosis, focal necrosis, infections in the bone that may be related to a tooth that was extracted. Now, a tooth that's extracted, and if that site at that site gets infected, it's extremely rare that it's not bacterial infection. It's going to be a bacterial infection. So already we've got that kind of as a setup. So I'd had this infection for many years and had no idea. I mean, normally when we have a bone infection, we don't really see a lot of especially in the mandible, the maxillary. We don't see overt infection right there. It's remote of sorts. So I had no idea. And I went to this biological dentist and they said, well, we have to debride it. And I never did have it debrided, by the way, but we have to debride it because I used homeopathy parenthetically. But I do teach about this in my course called Antibiotic Alternatives to Antibiotics. But at any rate, the dentist said, but until we can get to debridement, until we can figure out what to do, I'm going to give you this ozone injection. So she gave me an ozone injection, and my husband and I had an RV at the time, and we had driven quite a distance to get to this dentist, which, by the way, parenthetically, let me mention this to you. Don't go to a dentist just because the dentist is local. No. Nay. You go to a dentist because the dentist is quality, is very capable, has a lot of clinical experience, has gray hair, is a biological dentist, especially if it's for something like this. So if you have to travel several states away from your state, that's what you may have to do. So anyway, that's what we were doing. We had an RV, and I went back. We finished up. I'd gotten the injection of ozone, went back to the RV, and I suddenly felt, for lack of a better word, septic. I felt infected. It felt like infection was coursing through my veins. It's the best way to describe it. I felt weakened. My heart was racing. I felt very anxious, and it felt like I had blood poisoning. It's the best way to, and I'd never had blood poisoning before. So how did I know? Well, because it just seemed like that's what it was. So thank goodness I had my remedies with me, which I don't travel without them, especially for a dental appointment. And I took Pyrogenium 200C. And within minutes, I fell asleep. I woke up about 2 hours later, and the sensation was completely gone. I didn't feel sick at all. The weakness, the anxiousness, the heart racing, etc., completely went away, and it never came back again. I took one more dose of Pyrogenium 200 just in case, and as I said, I really didn't even need it, and that was it. That was it. I was done. It was, in my estimation, a lifesaver. Now, had I not had Pyrogenium, what I would have done was gone back into the dentist and said, I feel very sick. I feel like I have blood poisoning. And I would have probably been started on an IV drip of antibiotics. And it probably would have worked. It probably would have acted. But I would have had antibiotics again. Now, again, meaning I hadn't had them in decades, but they caused a lot of problems in my health. So it would have been something that's that would have brought me down a few notches. But by using Pyrogenium, it helped me get rid of the infection and put me in a better posture so that I could then go on with my life. But it also kept me from getting drugs that would cause trouble in the future. We know that. I mean, just accept it. That's what antibiotics do. They cause trouble. They can be life-saving if we have nothing else, but they also, you have to weigh that out. How important is it that I save my life? And how important is it that I learn how to use something else so that I can use that alternative? So there is a time and a place. So, all right, yeah, we travel 3 to 5 hours to a biological dentist. She uses ozone too and X-ray homeopathic too. Yes, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it was the injection. There's no doubt in my mind that it was the ozone injection that caused this, because I believe what happened was that this was an infection I know that it was very old, and it released the infection and it started to go through my bloodstream. And until that time, it had been encapsulated for all those years. All right. Okay, let's see if I can get some of this. Is Joette ill? I'm not hearing, but saw a message. Yes, I'm not feeling so hot. Yes. All right, let's see what folks say here. Liberty says septic tonsils of HEPA and Merck don't work. I think they will work. Let's put it that way. The medicines that are specific to the organ are where you want to start. Okay, folks? So if the tonsils are septic, I would definitely start with those medicines that are specific for septic tonsils. But if it doesn't work and the sepsis is we're getting into a fever, a septic fever, and it really is sepsis, then by all means, yes, I would do that. Pyrogenin always made up in water doses. I have recurring septic tendency, but also clean out the bowels. A dose of 2, or I can't read very well. A dose or 2 of a good castor oil, olive oil, etc. I'm not sure I understand, but I read it, so that I hope I'm that helps you by my reading it. Dealing with this issue now, found biological dentist. You bet. Thank you. You like my sweater. Thank you for your story. Could arsenicum have worked too? I don't think anything would have worked as well as pyrogenium. I mean, yeah, would arsenicum help in general? Arsenicum helped me through the years, which is what kept that infection at bay. I was using arsenicum a lot without knowing what it was. No, I think pyrogenium really was the specific medicine for this condition, to be honest. Okay. What was the ozone thing for? Well, ozone injections are used to help clean up infections. Biological dentists often use them. And let's see. So there's a dental infection long-term. Will this work? If there is a dental infection that's presenting as such, we're not using it just because there's an infection. We're using it because it's presenting as sepsis or a septic fever, and that's what I had. What about an ingrown toenail which keeps on being infected? No, we're going to use medicine. This is more for a broad spectrum. In other words, this is sepsis throughout the body, where you might see a line going up your arm, so you're getting blood poisoning. So this is more constitutional of sorts, or all over body infection, not a localized infection. We have medicines that are very specific for infection of the toe, etc. Now, if the toe is infected, and now the whole body is getting infected, and the person is starting to feel as though they are getting fever, and their heart is racing, etc. Listen to what I said, because it is very specific. This is not for an ear infection. This is not for a boil. This is not for an ingrown toenail. It's only if it goes much, much further and it gets into a septic state. Okay. I made a mistake going to someone who was supposed to be biological but was just high tech. I finally left and went to local, but had a good reputation, but not holistic or biological. He's much better than the one who claimed to be. Well, you're right. Just because they call themselves biological doesn't mean that's the answer. No, you want to go to someone who others have told you about. There's no doubt about that. Okay, Marisa, I've been watching number 39. I've not finished watching all the videos. They're extremely informational. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. How is septic different from a regular infection? Because it's a blood poisoning. That's really what we're talking about. It's blood poisoning. But look it up. Do look this up. In fact, that was one of the things I said. If you don't know what sepsis is or septic infection is, then by all means, take a look at it. Is it good for chronic Lyme since the whole body's infected? No, unless you have a fever or the heart is racing. No. Chronic Lyme is a whole different world, I am not convinced that chronic Lyme is as big as many believe it is. So I look at it much, much differently than naturopaths, functional MDs, etc. Spider bite can cause sepsis. You bet it can. Yes, it can. A spider bite can cause now, not if you get a spider bite and it's localized and it stays like that, but if it starts getting infected, really infected, we are talking the potential for a blood poisoning. All right. I've never heard of biological. Well, check out Dr. Weston A. Price, Price Pattinger Foundation. He was the man who started all this back at the turn of the last century, or maybe the 1920s. All right. People die from sepsis. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's exactly what I'm saying. You bet. And I mean, it's a scary thing. That's why I was so happy to have pyrogenium. My son had a dental extraction, slept fine for a few minutes, then felt like he was experiencing shock. Also, he just had his first COVID shot Saturday. Oh, I don't know that I could give you exact advice. I don't know that I could give you advice on that. I'm sorry. I had a brown recluse bite and streaking up my arm. Those brown recluse spiders are really dangerous. Yeah, glad to hear you say that about Lyme. I don't think so either. Yes, it's true. Fever from an abscessed foot. There we go. There we go. A fever that comes from an injury, perhaps. Yes, that's right. 200 potency is the potency. Now, I said that it worked within a few minutes. I mean, really, it was very short order. Had I needed it again, I might have taken it every hour, to be honest. What about a MRSA infection? Would this remedy be good? MRSA is more, and I might be wrong. I'm happy to be corrected, but I think of MRSA as more a localized infection and not a blood infection or septic that goes through the entire system. Okay. Where can I buy pyrogenium? You can buy it. I hate to direct you to Amazon. So instead, I'm going to direct you to Boron, Boiron. They should have it in a 200 potency. When you buy from Boron, when you go to checkout, in the little box, put my name, Joette, not my last name, just my first name, and you'll get a discount. And I don't get kickbacks. Just, you need to know that. I don't get kickbacks for this. Anything that I say is free. It really is free. I don't monetize. And I know that most people on the internet do. They are paid by someone to give this information, and I do not believe in that. I will be honest with you, the way I make my living is by selling my courses and my materia medica and working with clients one-on-one. Everything that I say is free is free. Otherwise, I would be tempted to give you information that would be more valuable to me in giving it to you. I would want to convince you to buy something because I would be making an income from it, and that is not right. How not right is that? It's so not right that I urge you to get rid of your television, because any television station or cable station or radio station that has advertisers, and even those who don't, National Public Radio, they have advertisers. Don't be fooled by that. They have advertisers. Their corporations tell them exactly what they can and cannot say. And so does the federal government. But so I'm telling you that anytime there's someone behind, follow the money, as they say, behind the advice, turn it off. Get rid of it. You don't want that advice. You do not want it. You want to look for, when you want your information, never look to media. Look to independent journalists. Go on alternative sites and follow independent journalists and start putting the information together yourself. So you listen to this independent journalist and this independent journalist and this one and that one and one from England, one from Australia and one from New York, etc. And that's how you're going to get your information. Or start reading books. But do not get your information, folks, from media. It is not real. What do you mean in your materia medica by pyrogenium being used for aftermath of a miscarriage? Well, aftermath of a miscarriage, when there is an infection, when the woman is starting to get a fever, bam, that's the remedy. That is the remedy. Now, I'm not going to tell you, because, I don't want to be hauled off. I'm not going to tell you, don't go to the hospital, don't get to a doctor. But on the way, if you've got a fever, bam, you better take this medicine on the way to the hospital. Yes, look behind the screen in The Wizard of Oz, says Harry. Yep, you bet. Look behind the screen. Question your sources. Question them. I can't think of any cable news, television news that I would even want to listen to. It is so distorted. And I've told this story before. I'll just tell you very quickly. I used to work for NBC. I worked for an independent television station in Buffalo, New York, and I loved working there. And then I moved to NBC. I was an account executive back in the early 80s, and that meant I sold advertising. And I saw how programming on the news was manipulated. And that was in the 80s. Now it's on steroids. Much, 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 much more extreme. So let's see what else we've got here. Pyrogenin versus hyper-Rs. Pyrogenin is specifically for sepsis. Hyper-Rs could also be used, but hyper-Rs is, no, let me step back. Pyrogenin is when there's a fever coming on. Or maybe you don't actually have a fever, but you're getting chills and you're back and forth, hot or cold. Just what I described, you don't necessarily see that in hyper-Rs. Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yes, for shouting this from the rooftop. Yes, absolutely. And someone says hypericum and arsenicum mixed. Somebody must have asked a question about that. You bet. All the same. Okay, so now we're not looking at this covers all bacteria infections. It just is for infections that are specific, where a fever and it's blood poisoning, etc., sepsis, septic fever, and it happens also to be bacterial. Bacterial meningitis, yes. Yes, Dolly, you're right. News is propaganda. Yeah, that's all it is now. That's all it is. Used to be that it wasn't, but it was a long time ago. All righty. Does anyone use Uranus brand homeopathy? I can't say that I have used it, but maybe someone else will answer that question for you. Let's see if we have any other questions. Oh, I see. What is hyper-Rs? Hyper-Rs is hypericum 200 mixed with arsenicum, and it's a Banerjee protocol. Let's see. What do you mean in your material? Okay, I got that answered. Yes, get rid of it. I'm talking about media. Yep. We need to get information from independent journalists, from places, not YouTube. Forget YouTube. That's long gone. Look for the alternatives. I'm not going to give you the names. For those of you who know, you'll know what I mean. Look for alternative video platforms. Let's see if we've got anything else. I want to make sure that I've covered everything, because I know this is a little different than other things that I've taught. And it can be confusing because I'm talking about bacterial infection, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's, just a mild little infection. And how often do you visit I only go to the dentist when I need to go. In other words, there's something going on. And I had a little filling that fell out and I'm going back. Yeah, that's what I do about everything with health. I mean, I don't like the idea of going to take a look. See, I know many people feel more comfortable doing it that way, but if something's wrong, I'll go if I need to know what it is. Doctors, dentists can be very good at diagnostics, but I can care for so much on my own that I feel pretty confident about it. And I'm not suggesting that you stay away from doctors. Please don't get me wrong. I think it's important that you have a good doctor, a good dentist that you trust, a good chiropractor. You want them to be part of your team. What I am not enamored with is going to see the doctor just to get a test. Because I think the tests are overrated. These vitamin D tests, another thing that I don't have a lot of information on this, but I'm very suspicious of these vitamin D tests, I'll be honest with you. How is it that people who are as healthy as horses have low vitamin D? It just doesn't make sense to me. And if you truly have a low vitamin D, in your showing low vitamin D in your blood tests, and you're eating well, and what I mean by well is I don't mean lots of fruits and vegetables, although that's acceptable. But if you're eating good grass-fed beef and good wild fish and eggs from chickens that roam freely, and dairy from cows that have names, if you know what I mean, and lamb and bison, etc. And you're eating that way, and you get in the sunshine frequently enough, and you don't have fatigue. I'm sorry, I am not someone who believes that a low vitamin D test will show that, or a test showing low vitamin D is relevant. I just don't see it. And I've not read anything about it. Actually, I just did read something about it, but I will also say that I've been suspicious for a long time. Yes, read books, forget the media. Yes. Thank you, Joette. Mainstream media cannot be trusted. You bet. All righty. Let's see if I've got everyone covered here. I think we have got it. I think we've got, there are more questions, but I'm afraid I have to dash off. I've got a pretty large group tonight, study group, Gateway 1, or maybe it's a Gateway 2. Folks, if you're not part of my gateways, it's very inexpensive. Do consider it, because I find that these people spend time together. They get to know each other and they help each other. And it's a great way to get help and make friends of like minds. So, love you, mighties. I'm blessed to have a great biological dentist. Yeah, I think I read that. Very good. Wonderful to see you all here. See you next week. God bless all of you. Mwah. And Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We will see you. I will see you then. I have to be able to get off. Here we go. Bye, everyone.